All right, we are on to lesson 1.8. Our goal here is to represent functions as graphs and write equations from functions. So to start off, we're going to talk about graphing a function. So we are given the function y equals 3x with the domain 0, 1, 2, and 3. We know that the domain is the same thing as the x values. So when we are working with our step 1, we're going to put our x values as 0, 1, 2, and 3. The first thing we need to do is to make an input-output table so we know what points we need to graph. Well, if our domain is 0, 1, 2, and 3, those are also our x values. How are we going to find our y values? In order to find our y values, we are going to simply take each of the domain and plug them into the function. So we'll start with 0. Y equals 3 times x, which we said is 0. So that means that y equals 0. And we're going to put that on our chart. Then we plug in 1. Y equals 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. So when you plug in 1, you get 3. And then keep going from there. Y equals 3 times 2, which is 6. And y equals 3 times 3, which is 9. So these are the different coordinates that we are going to graph. Keep in mind when you are graphing these coordinates, you are not going to be doing any connecting because they give a very strict domain of 0, 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, those are the only coordinates we are going to be graphing. We have 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3, 9. And that is it when we are graphing functions with given domains. Moving on to the next page are more examples with given domains. You're going to go through the same process here. Step 1, create the table. Step 2, graph each of the coordinates. Moving on to example 2, writing a function rule for a graph. So now we're doing the reverse here. So we're going to go through an example of this. It says write a rule for the function represented by the graph, identify the domain and range of the function. So step 1 is to make a table. So we're going to look at each of our coordinates and decide what the x and y value of each coordinate is. So we look at this point and it looks like the x is 0 and the y is 1. Over here we see that x is 1, y is 3. Over here we see that x is 2, y is 5, 3, 7, and 4, 9. So now we need to find a relationship between the inputs and the outputs. What is the relationship? What is happening as we increase in the x's? What is happening to the y's? Notice from the table that each output value is 2 more than the corresponding input value. So now we need to write a function that describes the relationship. And we are going to talk about this one in class tomorrow. See if you can come up with it on your own.